So we'll see the next concept, concept 3, mixed variation. So in this you have questions which involves both direct variation and inverse variation. So in the exam you will be getting questions where both the concepts, where direct and inverse variations are involved. So direct variation and inverse variation. And using the techniques of direct variation cross products and the techniques of inverse variation parallel products, we will see how to work out these questions. So we will have some examples. So in mixed variation, you have more than 2 variables involved. So we will see this example where you have both direct and inverse variation. So the question is, if 6 men can stitch 10 shirts in 5 hours, then in how many hours 5 men can stitch 5 shirts? So we will see the working. So in this question, you have 3 variables, men, hours and work. So 6 men can stitch 10 shirts in 5 hours. So you are asked to find the number of hours where 5 men take to stitch 5 shirts. So in this question, number of hours is asked. So it is better to write the variable which is asked in the middle. So write men, and as hours is asked, so write that in the middle, and work on the other side. So here work is number of shirts. So 6 men working for 5 hours can stitch 10 shirts. So to do the same work, so 5 men, so to stitch 5 shirts, so how many hours they need? So in this question, so you have both direct and inverse variation. So we'll check one by one. So when you take this men and hours, so hours are needed, so we have written this in the middle. So if there are 6 men, they need 5 hours to do a work. So to do the same work, if number of men is less, they need more number of hours to do the work. So men and hours varies inversely. So parallel products will be same. And to stitch 10 shirts, they need 5 hours. So when the work is less, if they need to stitch 5 shirts, the number of hours also will be less. Here when work is less, hours also will be less. So work and number of hours varies directly. So for direct variation, cross products will be same. So using the parallel and cross product concept, so we can equate these two products. So 5 into h into 10 will be equal to product of 6 into 5 into 5. So merely by knowing whether the variables vary inversely or directly, so you can take the parallel products and cross products by equating both. You can find whatever is asked. Here number of hours is asked. So by simplifying this, so we can find number of hours needed by 5 men to stitch 5 shirts. So 5 men need 3 hours to stitch 5 shirts. So in this concept, we have both inverse and direct variations. So here the logic is, so men, hours and work, we have 3 variables. Less number of men, they need more number of hours. So men and hours varies inversely, and for less work they need less number of hours. So hours and work varies directly, and by using the direct and parallel product, we found that 5 men need 3 hours to stitch 5 shirts. So we'll see the next example under mixed variation. 21 men can print 80 books in 10 days working 4 hours a day. Then how many men can print 140 books in 14 days working 3 hours a day? So in this question you have more than 3 variables. So we'll see the working now. So you have the variables work, men, days and hours. So here we are asked to find number of men. So work, here work is printing of books. So it's given that 21 men can print 80 books in 10 days if they work for 4 hours per day. So you are asked to find number of men needed to print 140 books in 14 days if they work for 3 hours a day. So now you have more than 3 variables. So I have written the variable men in the middle. So now we'll check one by one. So when 80 books are to be printed, you need 21 men. So if you need to print 140 books, so more number of books, you need more men. So men and work varies directly. So whenever you have the variable work, so you remember that. So the work will vary directly with all the variables. So work with days, work with hours, all will vary directly. And the other variables, they vary inversely with one another. So here men and work, they vary directly. So as for direct variation, cross product is same. So we multiply here. So 80 into m will be equal to 21 into 140. And we have other factors also involved. So you have to consider the other variables also. So 21 men, they work for 10 days, working 4 hours a day. So when you have days and hours, so you can convert it as hours work. So 10 days, 4 hours work. So you can take as 40 hours work. And 14 days, 3 hours work. So you can multiply and convert it as hours work. So 14 into 3, it is 42. So you have 42 hours work. So now instead of taking as days and hours, so you can take a common variable hours, where you have 40 hours work in the first row and 42 hours work in the second row. So by taking in such a way, the working becomes simple. So 10 days, 4 hours work is considered as 40 hours work. So this is got by 10 into 4. And 14 days, 3 hours work is taken as 42 hours work, so which is got by multiplying the number of days and hours. So now as we have seen earlier, the other variables vary inversely with one another. So we'll discuss here. So if they work for 40 hours, 21 men are needed. So if they work for 42 hours, that is for more number of hours, less men are needed. So men and hours varies inversely. So as they vary inversely, parallel products will be same. So now using the concept of direct variation and inverse variation, so we can find this value of m. So here product of 8 into m into 42. So which is equal to 140 into 21 into 40. So now to find the number of men, we can simplify this. So sending this constants to the other side. So 21 2 times and 40 2 times. So number of men is 140 by 2 into 2, which is 70 and equal to 35. So we have got the answer as 35 men. So if 21 men can print 80 books working 40 hours, to print 140 books working 42 hours, we need 35 men. Here we have both the concepts, direct and the inverse variation. So here the logic is less number of men, more number of hours. So men and hours varies inversely. So we have converted the days and hours as hours work. So it is enough if we check for men and hours, both vary inversely. More work, more number of men. So work and men varies directly. So for work and men, direct variation, cross product. For men and number of hours, inverse variation, parallel product. So by having this concept, we get answer as 35. So we'll see one more example. So some questions we have purely of direct variation or purely of inverse variation. So here is an example where you have both direct variation. So the question is, 7 men working for 10 days make 20 tables. 10 men working for 14 days will make how many tables? So we'll see the working. So here also we have 3 factors, men, days and work. So in this question you are asked to find work, that is number of tables that has to be made. So men and number of tables made is the work. Then we have the factor, we have the variable days. So 7 men, they work for 10 days and they make 20 tables. So if there are 10 men and work for 14 days, how many tables they can make? So we have 3 variables, men, work and days. So work is asked, so we have written in the middle. So for easy working, so write whatever is asked, the variable whichever is asked, write in the middle for comparison. So here men and work we have. So if 7 men can make 20 tables and if there are 10 men, they can make more number of tables. So men and work varies directly. So cross products will be same. So for direct variation, cross products will be equal. So we cross multiply. And days and work. So in 10 days, if they can make 20 tables, in 14 days, that is more number of days, they can make more number of tables. So days and work also will vary directly. So cross products will be same. So here is an important clue. So whenever you have work in the question, so work will vary directly with any other variable. So work with men, work with days or work with hours. So whenever you have work, so it will vary directly. And all other factors, men, days and hours, with one another, they will vary inversely. So here cross products, we have both cross product. So product of 7 and W and 10 will be equal to product of 10, 20 and 14. And now solving this, so cancelling this 10, 2, so we get 40. So 10 men, if they work for 14 days, they can make 40 tables. So here work we are asked to find. So work varies directly with men and work varies directly with days. So both direct variation by cross multiplying. So we have got the answer as 40, that is 40 tables. So I'll give one clue how to work out any question whichever involves all these variables. Say you have number of variables like men, days, hours and work. So for the concept we'll take, if there are M1 men working for D1 days for H1 hours and work is W1. And in the other transaction, suppose you have another set of men, that is M2, taking different time, that is D2, for H2 hours working for W2. So here work will vary directly with all the other factors, and this men, days and hours, they will vary inversely with one another. So for inverse variation, parallel products will be same, and as work varies directly with all these factors, cross products will be same. So whatever variable is asked, or when you have 2 or 3 variables or more than 3 variables, so have this in mind. So whenever you have work, they vary directly and all the other factors will vary inversely. So the working will be, so M1, so as you have here parallel products, so this will be equal to product of, so when multiplied with W2, so this will be equal to product of M2. So only the work varies here. So work varies directly with other factors, cross product, and the other factors varies inversely with one another, so parallel product. So using this concept, you can work whatever question is given, so and it will be simple also to work out. So here for the third question, the logic is, more number of men, more work is done. So the variables men and work varies directly, and more number of days, more work is done, and the variables day and work also varies directly. So using the direct variation cross product concept, we have found they can make 40 tables. So the answer is 40. So we'll see the next concept.